Good evening to you all. I'm happy to be here. My sincere apologies for coming in late. For some reasons I was delayed, but I left home a little early. If I told my wife that I've been delayed, I would reach here late, she might think I first brunch somewhere. But the bypass is very busy lately. I'm so happy to be here once again. It's not my first time to be here, it's the second time. And I feel very much privileged to be the guest speaker today. My sister Jombwe Mombeja has been introducing me with so many things that I'm not even aware. But anyway, I'm just here to have a conversation with you. My name is Daniel Semaganda, and I've been working for the watch sector for the last over 10 years. My last organization I worked for is Fields of Life. Fields of Life is a charity organization, Christian, that is working in the areas of WASH, education, livelihood, and other community development projects. They have been doing a lot of work, and have been part of almost most of their work in the water, sanitation, and hygiene sector that they have done in the country. We have done work almost everywhere in the country, and the organization works in like 6 countries. But I'm happy that she invited me to come and speak to you about water access. I thought I would speak about WASH in general, but every single acronym or every single component in the word WASH requires a full day to discuss it. So I only hope I can use the next 15 minutes to just go through this. And I'm happy that this topic was chosen, access to clean water, its challenges and the opportunities. I've been moving almost everywhere in Uganda. One of the things I'm so proud of is I've been traveling almost everywhere in Uganda, and as a Ugandan, I know almost every single part of Uganda. And that's one thing I'm proud of in my job. And most of the parts I've been traveling, I've been seeing so many plaques or writings where Rotary has been supporting health, has been supporting water construction, and I was not surprised when I saw the topic as water access to clean water. So I know this is at the heart of the Rotary Club. So I know this is at the heart, and I just want to give you an assurance. Access to clean water is there's an improvement in our country as far as concerned, and but then there is a reason why you choose such topics. I know you are really much bothered about human rights, because access to clean water is a basic human right. It's not a luxury, it's a basic what? Human right. Every human being deserves access to clean water. And it is so unfortunate when you look at the UN standards, access means having the water at your doorstep. So you can tell how many Ugandans don't have access to clean water. Because when you look at the standards of UN, having access to clean water is having water at your doorstep or inside your house. That is access. So every time you have to walk like 500 meters, you have to walk away from your house for a number of meters. That means you still have to work hard, or you still have to look for leaders who are going to support you to have water at your what? Your doorstep. Because it's a basic human right. You wake up very late in the night, you cannot walk to a borehole that is a kilometer away. You cannot walk to a tap that is a kilometer away, or it is locked anyway. So that's why by standard, UN standards, having access to clean water is water being at your doorstep. And if any of you here, you still have to go for water 500 meters, or even if it is 20 meters away from your home, that means you still need to have water come to your doorstep so that you have access to clean water, because water is a basic human right. And then also, water contributes to so many sectors. When you look at education, water contributes to the education sector. When you look at health, and then when you look at general economic development of a country, there's no any country that can be scored as being either through the third world to the middle income or to the developed world when you don't have access to clean water. And I'm happy to mention that there are so many poor stakeholders who have really been working so hard to make sure that people have access to clean water. Government is really working so hard to make sure people have access to clean water. So many NGOs. I'm happy to mention that Rotary is part of the players in this sector, and they have done a lot of work. So many, I've seen so many health facilities with their plugs. I've seen so many wells that have been put up by Rotary. But why do we still, in this era, 2026, why do we still have to sit here and talk about access to clean water? Do you think it is a cause something that is concerning, or it is not concerning? As members of Rotary, what do you think? Do we still need? Is it something we still need to be discussed in 2026?
Yes, it is.
What do you think? Do you think it's a concern in our country? Or for you people, you say you are very comfortable, you think things are okay? Yeah?
We think it's a concern.
Yeah, anyway, the fact that you even asked me to come and speak about it,
Yes,
I'm just so excited that this is a concern, and it's not only a concern only the Rotary Club, it's a concern to everyone. Because when you have access to clean water, you reduce the disease burden. When you have access to clean water, you improve school attendance. Because I can mention that there are so many children that are not able to go to school because of either they are suffering from a water issue, either typhoid, either diarrhea, or anything that is related to water. So I have a conviction that if you can improve access to clean water, it greatly improves attendance in school. I also believe access to clean water enhances the entire economic development of a country. That's why government invests a lot of money in water supply. And then what is very challenging that a lot of resources have been invested, but what is so challenging is that there are so many other people in Uganda that don't have access to clean water. We have this where access is still as low as 25%. If you go to a district like Rakai, I don't know if there's anyone who comes from Rakai here, or who is their neighbor, someone from Chotera, someone from the other side of Yantonde. Rakai, access to clean water in Rakai is only 25%. That means 75% of the people of the Ugandans in Rakai cannot access what? Clean water. However, there are districts that are doing well that have either 95% or what. But when you look at the general nationwide access, is 78% access to clean water. So that means we have 22 Ugandans, 22% of Ugandans that don't have access to clean water. So if we have the recent census, we have how many Ugandans? 56? 56, eh? Close to 56. So that means if we have 22% of that not having access to clean water, that means we have close to 20 million people that don't have access to clean water. So they are at a risk of either suffering cholera, suffering typhoid, suffering all sorts of water-related infections. So, and a concern to most of the players in this sector, including the international players like UN. When you look at even the players in Africa, they are very much concerned about how we can improve this access to clean water. And why it is so concerning that we need to really improve this access. Most of the people that are affected by poor access to clean water are women. Women also. Because if you don't have water in a house, a woman had to go to look for this water. She's the one who's doing the domestic work. She had to suffer all these consequences of having no access to clean water. But then, also, when a woman suffers, then the children also what? Suffer. Because, by the way, I will give you something that's very shocking. When you look at consumption of water in a home, the men consume the least water in the home, if you didn't know. The men consume the least water in the home, if you didn't know. No, like when you look at consumption and usage, men use less water than any other person in any home. They can decide to bathe once in a day, or not even to bathe. Yeah? So they not even bathe, and so they can survive on 5 liters a day. And yet the standard for every human being is at least 20 liters a day. That's the standard, at least 20 liters a day for every human being to have at least 20 liters a day. But when the biggest consumers of water are the children. You know that the biggest consumers of all sanitary products in any home are the children. When you look at the water they use, when you look at the soap they use, when you look at all those sanitary products, the children are the biggest consumers of those products. So when you don't have access to clean water, the most people who are going to be affected are the children and the women. And these are the most vulnerable. So when they get sick, that means you, as a father somewhere, the water you're not bathing will get up with you in your pocket. It is okay you're not bathing the water, but somehow your pocket will what? Will suffer. When the woman suffers, that means also you, as a man, you're going to do what? That's why these things are very concerning, and we need to pay close attention as people who are in a Rotary Club and people who are really concerned about access to water. And there are so many things. There are challenges when you look at water supply in Uganda. The government has invested a lot of money. 15 years ago, when you look at the Atlas, the Uganda Water Atlas by the Ministry of Water, Uganda needed over around 5,000 boreholes to make sure that at least every Ugandan has access to clean water. Or leave alone the distance, but at least every Ugandan would have what? Access to clean water. But over those 15 years, people have been drilling wells, but the access is not improving. You know why? We have so many sources that are non-functional. So many of you go to this community or move to these centers, and you find a tap station that was installed billions of money and does not bring water. You go to a borehole that was installed in a community and has spent years without giving water. So there are so many water sources that are unfunctional, and yet billions of money are being sunk in this what? Are being sunk in these resources are being sunk in these water points. So it's such a challenge that the functionality of most of the water sources in Uganda is a challenge, and that's why the Ministry of Water has what they call the water framework, where they guide on operational maintenance, they guide on the water user fees, capital contribution cost, so that people can feel that burden of taking care of their water sources. They can be the leaders of taking care of the water sources. But this is something that in so many years, the government will go and sink a borehole, and the people in those communities will not have any idea. Therefore, that borehole will be for the government, not for the people. And this was the same thing that most NGOs would do. They will go and put water sources, and then the community does not know what to do. So whenever it is broken down, the community will abandon it and then they will go back to their water source, which is unsafe for them. So those are things that are very disturbing for us that we need to really look at. And access to clean water affects both rural and urban. I know all of you, when you just move down on the other side of Katanga or go this other side of Kosovo, we have so many slums. You see how much people have to walk and get water. Or if they don't have to walk, you go to these taps and they don't produce water for a week. So that means even when the taps are there, access still remains a what? A problem. So these people are exposed to any water issues, be it in terms of how much time is wasted, in terms of diseases, in terms of all those burdens that come as a result of lack of access to clean water. So both communities, both urban and rural, are affected differently, but they all suffer issues related to water access. So, as members of Rotary Club, can we look at some of the challenges? I don't know if you have any. Can we cite some challenges that you think are affecting access to clean water in this country? And when I say clean is a bit broad when you talk about water, because water can be clean but unsafe. So water has to be clean and safe. Has to be clean and safe. And then the other thing, water can be dirty but safe. And not can be unclean but safe. You get the point? If you get soda and add soda here, it is not clear, yeah, but it is safe. Or if you get tea and put in this water, to be unclear or do not be as clean as this water is, but to be safe. But if you pick water from a toilet, you know these toilets where the one that we use, the waterborne toilets, it will be this clean. Is it safe?
Clear or clean?
It will be clear. Sorry, to be clear, but not what? Most people mistake clear water for being safe. Most people mistake clear water for being what? Safe. So when I talk about clean, I also put the word what? Safe. So most people, when they see water coming from springs, water from shallow wells, they think that's safe water. And unfortunately, some of that water is very unsafe because where it is coming from, people are putting up toilets upwards, people are putting toilets just near the aquifers. So you find that most water is contaminated along the way. So the chain is not completed. Along the way, the chain is what? Is contaminated. So water being clear does not mean that water is what? Is safe. So those are things we need to really pay attention to. The challenge is why we still have challenges with access to clean water, especially in rural areas and some of the urban areas, is there is infrastructure limitation. The technology that we're using, when you look at the infrastructure to maintain those boreholes, to put up those boreholes, you find that you still have a challenge. Most infrastructure is still a challenge to access to clean water, and the government is investing a lot of money to improve that infrastructure of accessing clean water. Then the other thing is funding. Every time we talk to, every time government is coming out to read a budget, there is a budget that is borrowing from abroad. And every time they are reading a budget, there's not any time they have allocated enough money to supplying water in this country. So That means the accessing clean water still faces a challenge of limited funding. And NGOs and other players like Rotary come in to bridge the gap, but still that's not enough. So there's a problem of limited funding. That's why you find that some communities. 2 years ago, I went to Oyam. We had gone to sink a borehole, and we met a man who was 65 years old, and this guy had never seen clean water for 65 years. He had been drawing water from a swamp, and that was his livelihood. For 65 years, he had never seen clean water. When you sit here in Kampala, you think things are okay, but when you go and have interaction with people in the communities or people who are away from, who are deep in the villages, you understand how bad having no access to clean water can be. This guy told us he has never seen clear water, he has never seen clean water for all his lifetime. And for him, he thought going to a swamp was okay. It was a lifestyle. It was okay because it was what? That he had grown up seeing that, his children had grown up seeing that. And for him, he thought that is the way of life. And it's okay for someone to go to the water source where animals also go and do what? And drink. So when you talk about access to clean water, it is no human being deserve to go to a water source where animals are also going, because it is a basic human right. The same way you have access to food, the same way you have access to health services, the same way you have access to education, the same way you should have access to clean water. So every Ugandan, you deserve access to clean water. Then we have issues with climate change and the environment. We all know. You must be very surprised, all of you, that there was some rain in February. There was some rain in February. So seasons are changing because the climate is being affected. You predict rain in March, it comes in January, and then March is dry. You predict it in September, it comes in June, and then September, October is what? It's dry. So there has been a lot of effects on the climate and environment which have affected supply of water, because they all depend on rainwater. And then also there are so many aquifers that depend on this rainwater, because the aquifers down in the ground, they depend on the water that comes from what? From the ground. So when the rain does not come for so long, that means some of the aquifers will dry. That's why we find so many boreholes in the communities have dried up, because the climate has been affected, or even the environment. You find that maybe because so many people are doing so many activities, they are mining, they are doing bricks, you find that these aquifers end up drying up, and at the end of the day, a water point that was supplying water can no longer supply what? Water. So we have a problem of climate change, and it's a very big problem to accessing water in this country. Then lastly, I just want to go through very fast. We have a rapid population growth in this country. When you look at our population 5 years ago and now, our population is growing so fast. So the facilities that have been there for some years, there has been overusage. There is too much usage of those facilities. So a facility that used to serve maybe 20 homes, maybe now is serving 50 homes. So that's a challenge, that the population is growing so fast and the money to invest more facilities is not available. So you find that some of these facilities are overused, and either the breakdown is so regular, they are always breaking down because they are overused. So there's also a problem of population growth, and so many areas are becoming urbanized. Where I grew up from, I remember when we were growing up, we only knew about 7 or 8 neighbors. But when you go right now, you can even afford to count so many houses around where you used to stay. So that means there are so many areas that are becoming urbanized. And that is affecting, that's not only affecting other resources, even the water. You used to go to a borehole and you would only take a minute to pick a water. But now you need to take 30 minutes because the numbers are growing. And eventually, that overusage affects the facility. Because these facilities are designed to serve a particular number of people, or to draw, or to give a given amount of water in a day. I want to summarize and looking at what can we do as members who are interested in the water supply, or improving access to clean water. We need to look at, can we look at technology that's going to improve access to water? As opposed to doing a borehole, can we think about things that to do with the motorization of water sources, as opposed to doing a single water point? Can we look at adding more funding to support water supply in the communities? Can we look at things like community-based management systems, whereby you can be able to support the communities to get knowledge, to take care of their facilities, as opposed to coming and putting the facilities and leaving them when they don't have any knowledge. So can we invest in building their knowledge, the community-based management systems? Can we invest in building their knowledge so that they can be able to manage their water sources, so that they can be able to be functional at any time? There are so many things that you can look at. Innovations. Can you look at innovations around water supply? Can you look at innovations on how we use water? Because we waste a lot of water sometimes. By the you see what the rain comes and the amount of water that goes. Can you look at innovations how this water can be collected and stored? So many things that we need to look at. And as Rotarians and interactors, we need to think about different ways of how we can be able to take the opportunity in this as we look forward to improving access to clean water. Because I know we are meant to be leaving here by 6, and it's already 7. Just to throw the ball back to you, the challenge that we still have a challenge to accessing clean water, but there's also very many opportunities if we are intentional about addressing this challenge. So if as Rotaracts or as people who are interested in supporting clean water, there are so many opportunities in this sector of supporting people in having access to clean water. Then we can come up with strategies that can be invested in this gap of access to clean water, having community participation, innovation, and then look at so many ideas. How can we address this problem? So it is a challenge to all of us. It's not a challenge to a government. It's not a challenge to an individual. It's a collective challenge. So we need to address it as all of us. We need to collectively address this challenge so that everyone have access to clean water and reduce this burden of limited access to clean water. I know I've really been so fast, but allow me to stop here for now and ask if there's any reaction or any questions. I address it before I can take my seat. Thank you very much, Jobwe, and the MC of the day. The President. The President.
Yes, Mr. MC.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Okay, kindly have a seat.
Member, thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. A round of applause to our guest, Mr. Semaganda. Thank you so much for that wonderful speech. Right about now, we can have
advise somebody to have a shallow or borehole in the Wise area, and if so, why?
Okay, that one has been picked.
It means the two things. Either it has been very well understood,
or not,
or not even understood.
But at least we have a question, so I'm very sure that is Alhaji Abdul Wawonga. He likes commenting, but he's an engineer as well. All these people are very, very serious people. So you can take off that question. And
yes, thank you very much, engineer, for that question, and the President for giving me another opportunity. First of all, I will say you cannot put a borehole in an urban area because the government does not allow. Even if you're going to drill a borehole for anything, you need a letter of no objection from the Ministry of Water and Environment to drill a borehole. But also when you look at the situation surrounding Waise, most have their toilets just so next to each other. So you cannot put a well in Waise because it will be contaminated along the way. Because that somehow, somewhere, that call it feces or that fecal matter ends up into the water. So they cannot allow you to put a shallow well into what? In Waise. Because we have a shallow well and a deep well. A deep well is usually a borehole. But they all have the same, when you look at them, they are more or less the same build-up. But a shallow well is just anything that is not below 30 meters. But you are not allowed to put a well in any urban area unless you have a letter of no objection and the ministry has done the assessment.
What if there is no public water line? So the land is there. It's swamped. What alternative can we make?
What if there is no
public water line?
Yes, in such a case, they first look at access. So if there's not any water point, they look at what available source is available, is within the area. Because you cannot go and stop people from taking water from a shallow well or from a swamp when you've not given them what? An alternative. And most people that have been able to drink water in urban areas, they either challenge National Water for limited supply, and then they give them what? A letter of no objection, and they're able to put a borehole. But as long as there is an alternative of green water in an area, they will not allow you to sink a borehole where there is where there is urbanization. They will tell you there is access to either urban water or national water. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope that is answered. So, with those few remarks from our guests, I would love to welcome PP Engineer, Dr. Engineer Stephen Teviasa. He is also a Paul Rees Harris Fellow, too, and to give us a wonderful vote of thanks to our guest. I chose him particularly because he's an architect. He's an engineer in that line of your workspace.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, our speaker tonight. He spoke well. I liked it.
Thank you.
These members you see in this envelope, they are good and they are very attentive. My job is to say thank you. Era nkwebaza nnyo omwana waffe omwana muzzukulu wa Kintu olwa byonna by'okoze otukkiriza ku mazzi n'otugamba nti abasajja bakozesa amazzi matono kubanga oluusi tebanaaba nze ntera okunaaba n'ogamba nti abaana bo batiikinga more water okusinga bala naye bakyala bo anytime they can spend more water.
They should pay the water bills.
Water bill, they save it. But these days, you forgot to say about something to say water is more expensive by paying than electricity.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for whatever you have delivered to us. We have been very appreciative. And our president, His Excellency Mutrafu, is very happy.
Yeah. Thank you. We need to sing for our lovely guest. He is a jolly good fellow.
He's a jolly good fellow. He's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us. And so say all of us. And so say all of us. He's a very good fellow. He's a very good fellow. He's a very good fellow. And no one can deny. And the more we are together, 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 the more we are together, the happier we are. For your friends are my friends, and my friends are your friends. The more we are together, the happier we are.
Thank you so much.